Uh, yeah, I just keep it steady on the magic. Do my thing, I'm healing, it's fantastic. If I fall, rise automatic. You ain't know now, you know. I'm the one raise myself like a tree from the roots. West side girl, cause she lit in the coast. East side girl when she speaks to the roots. Stay 100 cause she on with the truth. Been there on struggle, know that it pass. Only going up, yeah, the pain don't last. Ooh, take off. Ooh, take off. Ooh, take off. This is take off, take off, take off. Shorty like Brandy, fight like Monica. What you know about her? Baby girl rising, way to the top. Shaking the world, don't expect her to stop. Purpose so great, she get what she got. Follow her step, cause she following God. What you need more, got a heart full of gold. Even at times when it's raining and cold. Ooh, she bout take off. Ooh, she bout.
What up, y'all? It's your girl Hannah, aka Roots High, and you are watching the Uprooted Network. And of course, today is none other than Black Woman Wednesday. So, y'all, I had to bring back the homie. Okay, don't act like you don't know her. She's been on here several times. She's out there in the Twitterverse, in the Instagram verse, into the social medias and all of that. So, y'all, welcome back, Febu. Febu, how you doing?
Hi guys, hi Rati. Thank you for bringing me back again. I love coming here and just chopping it up, chatting. It feels doesn't even feel like work, honestly.
This one I've been trying to tell people. They're like, "How do you do this all the time?" I was like, "This doesn't." I talk for free, so this is great.
Yeah, literally.
Like this is great. We can do this. So, if
Mhm.
y'all are lost in the universe and some for some reason you don't know who Febu is or why we're so comfortable, um, I'm gonna reintroduce her. You guys might have seen her on Women in the Movement and on Black Women Wednesday on her own episode, and we've talked a lot about just the advocacy you do in those spaces. If you want to fill in the rest, let the people know about, if they don't know, should they know about you?
Okay. Well, I mean, I feel like people know this, but before all the stuff with Tigray began and all the advocacy, I mean, and still now, I am still a nurse, but yeah, like my professional background is nursing. I've been a nurse for like almost 10 years now. My God, I feel so old saying that. But yeah, it's been a minute. And what I specialize in pediatrics. I work with kids, especially my unit is post surgical. So all ages, like the first day of life, all the way up until 18 years old. Um, any types of surgeries, you broke your arm, you had an appendicitis, whatever it is, a brain surgery, heart surgery. That's my unit. That's what I do. So yeah, that's like my professional world.
And then the rest of the people only ever, I think, probably recognize you for your work with UTC, or United Tegaru Canada. So I'm glad you said, like, before I was doing this, I was still out here saving lives. Okay.
Oh, I don't know if I would say all that, but
Yeah.
I'll definitely helping people for sure.
We love to always say that. Whenever Faye was busy, we're like, you guys, she's saving lives. Okay. We're chit chatting while she's saving lives. So, it is what it is. But yeah, we always want to shout out. Um, what is your guys' thing? Oh, Canada.
Oh my God. Yes. Everybody knows it low key. You know that our home.
Yeah.
So
So if you guys don't know, go back to the other episode. We talked all about her advocacy work with United Tegaru Canada. We always got to shout out the home team. Today though, I want us to focus more on, like, who is Febu? Like, who is Feben? Not who is she to you, right? Because everyone likes to know that. Well, yeah, she's this, and that. Not your identity, or your classification, but like really Febu, right? Like, and it goes in line with what we're doing, right? This whole season's about personal development and growth and all that good stuff. So I think a lot of people are probably just impressed by you in general, but they probably don't know much about you outside of, oh, she's a nurse, oh, she is a Tigray advocate, right? Or whatever the case is. And I, for one, we talked about this offline. I was like, I mean, you chose the career path that our parents wanted you to, right? Like you went into medicine, which is one of the fields that is, it's habesha approved. It's
Hmm.
parent approved, but it's not an easy decision to make or execute on, right? So, can you talk a little bit about that? How did you become this role model child?
Well, okay, so honestly, I probably flip flop um between career paths so much before I actually settled on being a nurse.
Mhm.
And you know what? My parents actually never told me to be a nurse. They said the doctor, engineer, lawyer. Those were the three they tried to push me to be.
Mhm.
And honestly, in high school, I'm not gonna lie, I had really good grades. So I probably could have done any of those things. I was always in the honor roll. But I just chose nursing because uh I think like later in high school, I realized that my what I was really strongest at were the sciences,
Mhm.
and I actually enjoy. I like taking care of people. Like even in my, I mean, I'm an older sister. I kind of like how do you say? I don't want to call like the head of the house because I do have
Mhm.
an older brother as well. But anybody who's the oldest sister realizes what it's like to take care of everybody else in the house. You know what I mean? So I think it's just in my nature to be that kind of a person, and nursing really fit that perfectly. So I took the sciences. I applied for nursing school, and I went into that. But even then, like when I did nursing school, I finished, I became a nurse, like everybody was proud of me. There was still a lot of comments from the community like, "Hey, so great. When are you going to become a doctor now?" And I'm like, that's not the career I chose. Like, I chose nursing. I'm so curious, actually. I would love to hear from other nurses if their community says the same thing because I
Mhm.
got that all the time. Like, for the first probably 3 years, people kept asking me like, "Oh, so when are you gonna go become a doctor? When are you gonna go to med school?" I'm like, "I'm not. This is my job." So yeah, it was wild. And even my parents, even especially my dad, like till this day, he'll be like, "When are you gonna go do your master's? When are you gonna go do your PhD?" And I'm like, "Bro, I'm happy. I'm doing really well for myself. Like I'm good. But I think it just comes from a place of love. Like our family, our community, they're always trying to push us to do better and be better and just go to that next step.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, that was something I definitely encountered a lot at the beginning of my career.
That's like it's so wild to me, but it's also just on par with like being any type of immigrant. It's just like, no, you can do more. No, you can do more. I was like, no, you can do more. You can go back to school too. Like, who told you you can't go back to school? You can go back to
Hmm.
school. You can become a doctor. You can do all of those things as well. Like, I don't know this whole like I get it, the pushing us to be our greatest or whatever, but I'd probably be more inspired by watching you do it,
Hmm.
than like watching you not do it, but you're like criticizing me for doing what I chose to do. Like I do struggle
Exactly.
with that so much. I could just only
Exactly.
imagine. It's like the audacity. Like,
Hmm.
yeah, 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 that was good, but you're not finished yet. Like, girl, have you took Chem 1A? Because that's not
Honestly, exactly. And that's how I felt after nursing school. Like I felt the school was 1,000 times harder than the job.
yeah.
Like anybody who's done it will tell you it's such a hard program. You really have to be super focused. And especially to get into certain placements, like what I do is a specialty. So to get into a children's hospital, it's not easy. Like you have to have certain grades to even get into a program during school. So, like it's really hard. And I'm just like, hey, no, I don't want to continue my education. I'm good here. I like it. I'm so happy for myself.
Yes.
So it's too much. And it really will be the other families too, the families whose kids didn't even graduate high school that are telling you like, hey, so like, why aren't you doing this? I'm like, oh, please,
Yeah.
let's not start. Let's not start.
That's always my favorite. It's always my favorite. It'd be that one auntie or whoever, like you'll go to church, you'll go to like some type of baptism, whatever event, and it's like they want to tell you about you, and I'm like, where are your children again? Okay, like like
Exactly.
what? What is this boldness that y'all all have? Like, I don't get
Hmm.
it. And maybe it's cultural, right? Like, like how we greet each other. It's like, oh, how are you? How's the family? How's this? Da 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 da. And it's just like I just I want to just believe your intentions are good here.
Mhm.
But I just think there's like a real big problem with self-awareness in our community.
Mhm.
And, like,
Mhm.
y'all need to look in the mirror a lot more because it is beyond me. Like, it is beyond me.
Yeah.
Um, can we
But
just
also the problem.
Oh, go
Mhm.
ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, the other thing is too, I don't know if sometimes I don't think they realize what kind of pressure it puts on people. You know
Mhm,
what I mean? Like that added pressure, like they'll say that to me. I might be able to just brush it off,
mhm,
but they might say that to my parents. Then my parents are coming and saying and bringing it back to me, and like it's just a lot of pressure. And I don't think our community really realizes how much pressure they apply on the youth
mhm.
and what kind of toll that can have on us. But it's not easy, and yeah, I just really encourage people to not focus on all that extra, like that outside noise, because it doesn't serve anything. It doesn't help you, it doesn't do anything for you. So
Yeah, I was gonna actually tell you, like, let's unpack this, even the process of getting into nursing school, right? Because it almost sounds too easy. You were like, I was a good student, got good grades, did well in school, applied for nursing program, graduated, now I'm a nurse, right? Which is the truth, right? Like when you break
mhm,
down the steps of how do you become a nurse, yeah, you have to do those things. But in the middle, the in between time, it's still like life is happening in that. So there's
mhm,
like, I'm sure sacrifices that you're having to make when you're talking about like staying focused. I wasn't joking when I said like Chem 1A. Everyone I
mhm,
knew that was like a science major or like thought they were going to go pre-med or like whatever the hell it was, they took Chem 1A and they all quit. They were
yeah,
just it was like they would fail, they would quit, they were like this ain't for me, and then they would choose like a different role in the health sector, you know?
mhm, yeah. No, I'm not kidding. Like I'm telling you, like I said, the schooling was so much harder than the actual job. Like
Mhm.
anybody will tell you. You And not only because I think also what made it harder was it's not enough to just pass. Like there are many courses that you needed a certain grade to pass the course. Like you
Mhm.
can't just get a 51 and call it a day. You might need like a 70 or a 75 in certain classes to actually pass that course. So it was extremely, extremely difficult. But yeah, like you said, like I had to make a lot of sacrifices. I honestly could ask any of my friends in university. I was there all the time. I think my parents would think I was lying when I would say, "Oh, dad, like I'm at the library. It's midnight. I'm at the library." Because a lot of kids will use that as a lie and they'll be outside doing whatever. But
Mhm.
I was dead ass like at the library all day long.
Mhm.
Also for me in my house, like it was really hustle and bustle. It just wasn't an environment that I could really focus. Like my sisters, my parents, my mom would be knocking on the door every minute, Injada bin blah blah blah. And I'm like, bro, I gotta focus. Like I can't do this with you here. So I
Yeah.
would really sometimes be at the library all day long, like 10 a.m. to midnight,
Mhm.
especially during like exam season. It was really rough. Like I can't even explain how hard the nursing program is. But yeah, you just had to do what you had to do. I think my parents started believing me because sometimes if I didn't get the car, I would have to ask my dad, like, can you pick me up?
Mhm.
My dad was a taxi driver then, so he would be downtown working at those hours. My school is downtown. He would
Mhm.
be down there working at those hours, and I would be like, please pick me up. I'm here, and he would see me with my big ass backpack with 1,000 books in it.
Mhm.
So anyways, yeah, like I said, I mean, I think nursing school helped me a lot in work life balance
Mhm.
because I really did have to be dedicated to the schooling, but also I had to make time for a life. Like there
Mhm.
were times that I would just be like, okay, I'll study till like 6 o'clock today, and then go out and have fun with my friends. So I think one thing it taught me was how to balance my life a lot better, and I would say I'm a pretty organized person because of that.
I was gonna say because that didn't sound like you had time for a social life.
You have to make time. That's the other thing where you go crazy.
Okay. Because I was gonna say I remember a couple of like a sorority sister and then a few other people that I knew in the nursing program, and they would do that. They would grind all night, like all week, every week. Because I used to run the study center in the dorms, and they'd be there with me every day, like my entire shift, right? Like go get food, come back, right? Like that whole thing. They were my little buddies in there. I could count on, and some of them were athletes too, which I really
Oh my
couldn't
God.
understand. I was like, how do you have time to be an athlete and be in the nursing program? Because like that's insane. And then like one of them I knew like, again, right? Because I had a sorority sister too, so it's like, and you're in the sorority, right? So it's like, when do you have time to sleep again? Like there was just certain people I knew and I was like, "Oh, you have excellent time management." Like there's no
Mm-hmm.
way you get through it like there's just no way. Like you have to be able to like time block and like be very like persistent,
Yep.
you know? Cuz I was just like, "How? How do you have a social life?"
No, I think those people are very like high achieving students because it takes the program itself is difficult. So then when you add on top like a sport, extracurricular, it's really hard to manage. Even like I was working during school, but not that much. Like I was really not working a lot at that time. I was working at the airport as a at a place called Second Cup. I mean, I don't know if you guys know Second Cup, but it's
Mhm.
like a Starbucks. Anyways, and yeah, I would work maybe like once a week, sometimes twice, maybe if I had like a lighter semester, but it was really hard to manage. So, I mean, kudos to those people. I think if you're in a hard program and you're an athlete, those are like the really, really high achieving students.
Right? Or they just somehow get a lot of help and pass. It's one way or the other. I'm not gonna say that everybody has that, but I did remember at some point that like they would their advisors would like suss out the easy teachers and like the ones that were more
Mm,
lenient on grading and this, that, and the third. And I just was like, I felt bad because I was like, you're getting gypped of an actual education. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like you're gonna get the degree, but once you leave your sport and you enter, the quote unquote like real working world, you're gonna feel very inadequate because you don't actually know any of these things, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. You do yourself a disservice at the end of the day, you know?
Yeah, I felt bad. I just remember like I was like, they're not it's not like they're incapable of learning, but they're literally exhausted because they'd have
Mm-hmm.
morning practices, and I lived with an athlete once and it was so annoying. This girl used to make smoothies at like 6 in the morning, sis. I was like, are you the blender? Really? Right now? Like, but
Mm-hmm.
it really would be like they'd be up at the crack of dawn, they'd be doing their practices. So by the time they get to class, they're already exhausted. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
when you
Mm-hmm.
know that wind down from a workout, like your brain is like trying to recover, let
Mm-hmm.
alone trying to solve for equations. You know what I mean? Like it's just that's
No,
nuts.
I know. I know. I dated one. It was like practice morning practice before classes, before bright and early classes. Then after that there would be like physio. Then after that there's the
Mhm.
massage. Then after that after the day is done there's a night practice. Like it was a lot. I'm like, "Oh my God, I would never be able to do all this and then still maintain good grades." Like it's crazy.
Yeah, but how do you even have time to date? I used to always think that was funny. I was just like, is that what you
But
want
you
to
know
do?
what, Rita? When there's a will, there's a way. People will make time for what they want to make time for, you know? They
That
will. They
part.
really will.
No, I literally just said that to somebody the other day. And I was like, look, if you really want it, you make time for it. Me, you might
Exactly.
sacrifice a little sleep, you might sacrifice something else.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
you might be not in your group chats or you with your friends as much. You're gonna have to prioritize. But I think the key in this section is, know what you want and then prioritize it and like have the discipline to do it, you know?
Yeah, that's it. You just have to take a bit away from something else, and that's honestly like how it goes down. Like there's no choice. You don't have 1,000 hours in a day, right? So you got to give and take here and there.
Yes. Okay. 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 Listen, because you threw that in there. I wasn't gonna throw it in there. I was just like, yeah, I don't know. Dating on top of that, shoot, you better come. I can't deal with the Build a Bear during that time. You better come all the together. 'Cause
No, but no, back then everybody was building. You weren't. Nobody was built back then. Like, how are you built in like first year? You know what I mean? So, okay, you don't know no better.
that's true, but I mean, like emotionally, the toll
Oh.
that yeah, I'll just be like, yo, I gotta write this paper. I don't have time for this conversation. Like, this is not it. But
Mhm.
you really do make time for all of those things. Maybe sometimes not so well, that's why we
Mhm.
burn out and those other things. But no, that's pretty.
Mhm. Yo, but
Oh,
one thing about me, I have no, I have zero problem turning that phone off. putting it down and not looking at it for 12 hours. I have zero problem doing that. That's one thing about me. Like I will, if I set my mind to something, I say, no, like I need to write this paper today. That's it. Like I'm not looking at my phone at all. And
Wow.
people know, okay, she's not available today. Like it is what it is, you know?
I was
Not
like,
like
I don't
that.
think I realized that because the way your FOMO is set up, like,
I know. But it is. I have crazy FOMO, but at the end of the day, like one thing that's good about me, I understand deadlines. Actually, and I was never a procrastinator either. Like I would, if
yeah.
I know I have an assignment due next week, I find out about it today. I'm starting it today. Like that's one thing about me. I like
What?
to have things out of the way.
Wow, wait a minute. Okay, because the rest of us are procrastinators. So this is phenomenal to me. I'm like, how the hell do you become someone who doesn't procrastinate?
Oh, you know why? Because I love myself. I don't want anxiety. When my thing is due in 2 hours, I don't want to have that anxiety, that like turbo type thing. I don't want those problems in my life. That's why I start early. That's why.
Oh, week she said because I
That's
love
why.
myself. That was a great answer.
I hate, you know, that anxiety, that feeling of
Mhm.
anxiety. I can't stand it. I don't like that at all. I'll do everything in my power to be prepared in advance.
Okay, okay. So you have anxiety differently. Like you get anxiety from having something to do that you have to turn in. So you're like, let me just do this now. So you're like, jump on it quick.
I'll have anxiety about no, I won't have anxiety knowing I have something to do. I'll have anxiety once I realize like okay, the clock is ticking. Now I got to work really hard and like stress out about it and like not be able to do certain things. That's
Mhm.
what gives me anxiety. I don't like last minute things. I'm very planner. Like people don't know. Before this interview, I called Rita this morning. I'm like, "Hey, so what are we going to talk about? Like what should I prepare?" You know? Like I'm very organized. I don't like surprises. I like to be prepared. I like to know what I'm going into. That's one thing about me. I don't like to just go on the fly on things.
Okay. So where do you think that came from? Like were you like that before, like when you were younger, or like that's just you learned that in
Mm,
college?
I think no. I think I learned that before college for sure. I okay. So at the beginning of high school, I wasn't that great of a student. Okay, let me guys give you guys a little inside story.
I
I
spill
wasn't
the
that great of
tea.
a student. I was I was too much of a social butterfly, kikiing here and there, chit chatting. I was always the talker. You tell my parents at any parent teacher interview, they always tell them, "Oh my God, your daughter, she's always talking. She's distracting everybody in the class." That was me. That was always me. And anyways, one year in the ninth grade, I remember I got in some trouble. I had my mom had bought me a brand new phone. Okay, I won't say what kind of phone because I don't want to date myself, but my mom bought me a
I'm
brand
already
new
knowing there was only two options.
my mom bought me a phone, okay?
Mhm.
And this was the first cell phone I ever had. Like I felt like I was hot shit. And anyways, Canada Day came by. I got in some trouble. I lost my phone, okay? And
Ooh.
basically,
Oh wait,
my
for
mom and
what's Canada Day for people who don't know?
it's like your 4th of the July.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So, anyways, I lost the phone, and essentially later, my mom told me like, if you want a new phone, you need to be on the honor roll, which means like your average needs to be higher than 80, okay, at
Mhm.
school. So trust me. Oh, after that, I was reading every book. I was sitting at the front of the class. I was asking every single question. I was determined because I was the only one who didn't have a phone. So I'm like, oh, I need this. So I really busted my ass off, and then I started getting really good grades. Anybody who gets good grades, you know that feeling. Like once you
Mhm.
start getting 80s, 90s, you don't want to see a 70. You don't want to see a lower grade. You're used to like a level of achievement. You don't want to see any less than that.
Mhm.
So I think after that, that was kind of the fire under my ass. That was what really motivated me to be a good student. And then after that, I just continued being a good student because I had instilled that kind of like discipline into my lifestyle.
Mhm.
So anyhow, wait, why did I even what was the point of this story?
The point of the story is that you're not a procrastinator.
Oh yeah, so
Mhm.
yes, so basically for my own self gain, which is a cell phone, I taught myself good like studious disciplines, and that's it. From there, after that, I stopped. I never procrastinated again after that. That just wasn't my thing.
Yeah, that shit did not work on me. Like as you were saying that, I was like, that shit did not work. Like I don't know. To this day, I do shit last minute. to this day. Like, and I think because I haven't suffered enough consequences, maybe. Like,
Mm,
there's been a few, right, where you're like, damn, I definitely messed that one up. But it wasn't too detrimental, I think, like for me to
mhm,
care that much, right? Where it's like I knew regardless of me like procrastinating or whatever, I was like, I know my capacity and my capability that like if I can get an A with doing a paper in 2 hours, you know, like at the last
mhm,
minute, then I'm like, I don't really have to try that hard.
yeah.
Like, I was just like, "Oh, like, you're beating yourself up for no reason." And I think my anxiety works differently where it's like I have the anxiety that the pressure we were talking about, like, that our parents put on us, like, early on of like, "Oh my god, I have to do this well." Like, am I and so, like, my anxiety is talking to me already. Like, as soon as I
Mhm,
know I have to do something, I'm already like, "Okay, I don't wanna fail." Like, and
yeah.
so I feel like all those days ahead of time is just for my brain to fight itself to decide that I'm gonna do the paper, and then when I sit down and do it, I bust it out because, like, I don't have anything else, like, I have to get it done because the other side of that is, like, I refuse to fail, so, like, I
Mm.
almost, like, put myself in that position to be like, "Yep, you got it done. It's done. Alright, here you go." And it's like, I don't wanna look at it
You work
again.
better under pressure. You
Yeah,
pressure
but
helps you.
yeah, I don't know if I work better or I just learned how to work under pressure, you know?
Mhm,
Like, it doesn't
mhm.
scare me, and I think that's also why I'm able to do, like, lives, right? Or I'm able to, like, lead programming or be the MC or whatever because it's like, "Oh, who cares? I'll just do it. I'll figure it out when I'm there." Like, like
Yeah. Oh, no, 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 no. That could never be me. There's even today, like I only called, you guys don't know this, but I called her maybe like 2 hours before the show. And for me, that's like late. But the
Mhm.
only reason I did that is because I've done your show 1,000 times and me and Ruta are friends off this show. So I'm like, okay, it's really no pressure at all, you
Yeah.
know? But like typically, oh, I'm getting the details way in advance. Like I need preparation. Normally I would have like a Google Docs, some notes written down. Like that's just my style. But yeah, time for me, I'm also a perfectionist. Like I don't like to give half-ass work. I like to do the job properly. So
Mhm.
that's part of my thing. I like to have time so I can work on it, do it well.
Wow. Okay. Well, we learning about each other. I'm on one side of the
Hmm.
cusp, okay, and then and then Fable's the other side. So
Hmm.
we're just gonna say that's the Aries in you. I don't know. We're just gonna make up some shit.
Maybe.
We're just gonna make up some shit. Sounds good. You know what I mean? Sounds good enough to me. Because even what you were saying, so those relate to psych principles, right? Like in like our rewards system, right? Like your mom was like, okay, rewards work well for you. Like you will work towards the reward because it was important to you. Like she chose something that was important to you and like was
Hmm.
very smart about it. And then with habit forming, like anything that you do for over 30 days becomes a habit.
Yeah.
It's the same with addiction. It's the same
Hmm.
philosophy, but with like you can use it in anything. So if you repeat something long enough, it becomes a habit. And like because yours was that discipline, like that's good. I'm still trying to get there. You know what I mean? At my big age, I'm
You
still
could
trying
do
to
it, man.
get
Trust
there.
me.
I have discipline for hella other stuff. Tell me not. Like I have discipline for
Oh yeah.
hella other stuff. But for some
Hmm.
reason, when it comes to this, like I just am like, "Oh, I know I can it's not that hard." Like, I'm an outline mommy, though. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
how, like, that whole process of, like, rough draft, first draft, final
Hmm.
draft? I go from, like, outline to, like, rough draft is pretty much my final draft, and, like, if I'm really if I have the time, I'll read over it once or twice. But, like
Mm, my God. Yeah,
and I'm just
no.
like, "Here you go." Like, it just because 'cause I'm like that. Because once I can put an outline together and I know what my plan is, then I don't worry about it anymore. Because 'Cause
Hmm.
I'm like, "Oh, it'll be there when I get time to it." So, like, I'll do, it's easier to just use a paper as an example, but I'll do the example, like, the outline, and I'm like, "Okay, this paragraph, I need this, blah, blah, blah. Alright, here. Okay, cool. I'll write this later." Because like, already in my mind, I've already written the paper.
Mhm,
You know what I'm
mhm.
saying? I
Yeah,
just
and
have to
that's not
use
how
the
I
paper.
am at all. Mm-mm. I'll see the like that rubric. I'll be like, okay, cool. So, this section I'm gonna work on from this day to this day. This section I'm gonna work on from this day to this day. Like
Mm,
that's how I break up my stuff. So that way, one day I'm not just like working hard all of it at one time, you know?
yeah.
But that's just, I don't know. I think I'm just very organized. Like Ruta knows when we go places, I'm the person who's
She
making
wants
a
the
Google
itinerary.
Docs with an itinerary. Yeah, like dead ass. So, I'm already starting it for Chicago. Like I am that person. That's just, I like to be organized. I don't like wasting time. Like, for example, a trip. I don't want to get there and be like, so what should we do today, guys? Like, I don't like that. I want to like, maximize the time that I have.
Okay. Look, we learning about you. Okay, if you guys have been wondering how Fable gets it done, that's how she gets it
This
done.
is it.
It's
Yeah.
crazy. Cause I'll book the tickets, I'll get all that stuff situated. Cause that part I need to know when I'm going and where I'm staying. You know, like
hmm
there's people who will like not get a hotel and they'll just figure it out when they get there, and I'm like, you guys stress me out.
I can't. I
I
cannot deal with people like that. The
no,
anxiety I feel for them, like, bro, at your big age, you booked a flight to a destination, you don't have nowhere to stay? That's outrageous to me. I don't know
yeah,
how people do that kind of stuff. No, that's crazy.
yeah, and I keep
Like, to
running
me,
across
that's
people.
irresponsible.
They think it's adventurous. They're like, "Yeah,
Oh
you can get a
no.
hotel," and I'm like, "Yeah, but you're probably gonna be charged 3 times the amount." Or if you get lucky and you get a last minute situation, but you might not get what you wanna be in, I just don't wanna
Mm-mm,
waste like what you
mm-mm.
said, I don't wanna waste my whole day trying to figure out where I'm gonna stay. Like,
No, that could never be me. No way. And one thing about me, I love a good deal. Oh my God. That's my mom in me. Like the way I will find a deal anywhere I go. Like that's one thing about me. Oh hell no. I'm not about to stay at the same hotel you're staying at for $300 more a night. No way. No
mm-mm.
way. That's crazy.
Oh,
Anyways, no.
man, no, for real, the Habesha does love a good deal. It really does.
Oh yeah.
Mm,
Yeah. For unnecessary things too. It'll just be like, "Oh, that's on sale." I'm like, all right, should I get it?" Like, no, I don't need that, but I might still get it just because it's on sale.
okay. Listen, sometimes I do that, and now I started realizing, nah. Like I've broken the habit of seeing the sell sign and getting excited. I'm like, no. Mm-mm. Or you know how like, or if you're grocery shopping and it'll be like, you can buy four and you get it for the price of one, and it's like, or I can just buy the one
hmm
because it's still gonna
Yeah.
be the same price. Like, you know what I mean?
No,
It's
I
still gonna
won't
be
do
the
that.
same
I'll
price.
buy the four. I'm dumb. I'll buy the four, and the three will end up getting wasted. But in my mind, I got the deal, But I didn't. I probably won't use the three. It might go bad before I get to it. But I'm still buying all four.
You
I don't
see,
know
there's
why.
a metaphor in there for
Like,
life somewhere. You know what I mean? There is, because I'm telling you, I'll be like looking at people and I'm like, you still get that one for the same price. Like, that's how the deal,
but
like,
why not have four? Why have one when you could have four?
because you just said it. You don't use it. So it just goes to waste. You you're a hoarder.
For
You're
the
also
off
becoming
chance.
a hoarder like our parents. Be trying to just
Oh my
save.
God. I
Just be
can't
trying to
even get
save
in.
everything.
Don't even get, okay. So one thing, like, I don't know if your parents do this, but like yogurt, the yogurt containers, the big ones,
Oh yeah.
bro, my whole life I would see like the yogurt containers would be saved, and like my mom would make like pasta sauce and put it in those yogurt containers and freeze it, and like a lot of stuff was in the freezer in those big yogurt containers. Tell
Hmm.
me why, when I moved out, I started saving these yogurt containers. Like my drawer had so many containers. It would be like butter, like a butter margarine container, like
Hmm.
so many different containers just saved. And I'm like, one day I literally told myself I gotta throw all this out. Like I'm becoming my mom, and we don't need this. I don't need this at all. Why do I have this for the rainy day that I'm gonna have like a disty this much of pasta, like pasta sauce? I'm like, come on. Anyways, so yeah, I try. I broke that habit, but I definitely had it for a couple of years.
That's hilarious. That kind of brings me into a little bit more about like your upbringing too, and how much you feel like that's influencing you today. Considering
Mm,
like, we grew up in the diaspora, you know what I'm saying? Um like even that small example, right? Like I think the older we're getting, the more we're starting to accept that we're becoming our parents. You know what I mean? In certain aspects,
Mm-hmm.
in certain ways. Even just your personality, like I think that you're yeah, like if I considered me versus you, I'd be like, man, yeah, like Faven's she's stable. Like she's gonna be the one that keeps us like put together, stable. Like she's
Mm-hmm.
gonna have us like to get like the rest of us. I don't know. Like we're we're like, oh, we're just kind of figuring the. We'll just run around. We'll just do all types of crazy, and then Fable will be like, no, 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 guys, I can't do that. Like she's the one that's like
Yeah.
already has her life together, and the rest of us are like slowly getting there. You know?
You know what? It doesn't matter how fast you get there, as long as you get there. That's what I try and tell everybody when they're like, "Oh my God, like how do you have everything?" Blah blah blah. I'm like, yo, it really doesn't matter who gets there first. All that doesn't matter. But
Mhm.
no, definitely my upbringing, that is everything for me. Like I definitely learned so much from my parents. I take a lot of their personality. I have so much of both my mom and dad in me. Um I would say, you know, it's too bad. Like because of this war, I had to take down a lot of my posts that were on Instagram. But my dad, his name is Gabru. I used to have like a highlight series called Gabru's Gems, and
Mhm.
because he is so funny, guys. Like my dad is a comedian, and anyways, he would just say a lot of crazy stuff, and I would always be recording him, and I had like a whole highlight dedicated to my dad because he was just so funny. But
Mhm.
it's too bad I had to take it down when this war started because I'm like, you know, these ops are out of control. Like they were posting pictures and stuff of my family. I'm like, no. But
Mhm.
anyways, so all that to say, like, yeah, I get a lot of my goofy side from my dad. And my parents taught me so much about our culture. That's why I care about our culture and like my roots so much because my family has instilled that in me since day one. You know, like everything about it. Like knowing where I'm from, knowing my language, knowing my religion, knowing rituals, stuff like that. What's important to our people, yeah, all that. So. Um, and what was the other thing I wanted to say? Oh yeah, so, that organization that what I think you were describing a little bit,
Mhm.
sinersat, that
Yes.
I got from my mom. My mom made sure her kids all knew about what sinersat was, what it means to have sinersat. Which, if you don't know what that means, it means to be well behaved,
Mhm.
well disciplined. Yeah, so that's why I I think a little bit of what you were explaining is that, and I got that from my mom for sure. She would be like, she would teach us how to do, you know, we're making bun at the age of 14 in my house, 13, 14. Like as
Mhm.
soon as you were in high school, you had to start learning. We're doing shuro at that age too. Like they would just, my mom would teach us little things about our culture so early on, and I appreciate it so much. And you know, things like, okay, cross your legs, you can't have your legs wide open. To like I'm like, oh my god, like it's so much, you know. But yeah. No, yeah, they taught me a lot, a lot, a lot. I appreciate them so much. I have a great family.
I would say because the videos of your dad crack me up every time. This guy's he really is comedy. I'm like, what did he just say? Like the jokes, the stories, they're so funny. And I can say that like if you guys see like the photos, videos that Febu does post when she does grace us with those, it's always OD. Like every holiday, I'm like, really, Febu? Like you guys are doing the most right
Mm,
now. Like every holiday,
mm-hmm,
it's like their house is like Tigray from the floor to the ceiling. Like it's just
mm-hmm,
it's so out there wild. They go over the top for actually let me not call it wild, but they go over the top for everything. Like what was it
mm-hmm.
last time you sent us a picture of Hambasha or something?
Yes, that was Lakatit. It was the, yeah, like the 47, it had the flag, like that was the most. And you know what? That was all my mom's idea. My mom is so extra when it comes to this stuff, guys. Like
Mhm.
she'll make food. Ruta, you've seen. She'll
Yep.
make food, guys. There's only 5 people that live in the house. I promise you, 20 people could show up unannounced and there's enough food for everybody, you know? Like she really is making it a feast out every single holiday, and that's nothing new. Like she's been like this from time.
Man,
There has to be a little bit of everything.
yeah, I was like, you had leftovers for weeks, huh?
Oh yeah, yeah. She's sending home guests with like so much food.
Yeah, my aunt's like that
Yeah.
too. I'll be so tired, like, girl. And then it's like all the cleaning that we have to do after, because they do all that. They're
Mm-hmm.
great at doing all that, making the mess, but then you got to clean all of it. And you're like,
Yep.
oh my gosh, you couldn't have just made three.
Mm-hmm.
You had to make 10. Like those
No,
pots
my
of
mom
gas
could
add
never.
up. Like what?
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
why you had discipline. You have to clean up after every holiday.
Bro, it's a lot. But you know what, I'm thankful. I'm honestly I am thankful for it. But it definitely is a lot. And like my mom is that mom who will be like, Bil'i, Bil'i. Like you cannot say no to my mom. It doesn't work. Anybody who knows her knows you cannot say no. You can't.
Yeah, I have those.
Hmm.
You know, my favorite thing now is like, I'm sorry, I'm allergic. Like, oh,
Damn.
it has been my saving grace because that's literally what was making me sick and was like making me gain weight and all that is like that culture of our parents overfeeding us. So like the
Mhm.
day that I found out what my allergies were and I got them verified, and I told my mom, she was like devastated for like a week because she was like,
Mm,
"We, Zagwani,"
yeah.
she was like, "I've been feeding you this stuff. I've been making you sick," and like she felt so bad about it. And I was like, "You didn't
Hmm.
know like that I was
Yeah.
allergic." You know what I mean? Like I definitely complained about it all the time, but in our culture, like what would happen is, and your mom will, you will get this because if your parents taught you this word sinersat, then like they don't play like this whole discipline thing. I used to use that word as a joke all the time. I was like, "Oh, you want me to have it, then you have it." Like, but
Hmm.
um we would eat and they would overfeed me for one, right? Because like that's the first fallacy in Tigray, right? Like we overfeed our families. And
It's too
then
much.
I would be laid out because like think about how much like allergies I was taking in between everything,
Hmm.
right? And so not all of our food I'm allergic to, let me not say that, but like especially the injera because the injera here is not made properly.
Hmm.
And so I would be laid out. Like it didn't matter if it was that, if it was pasta, if it was whatever. And she was like, "Oh, you're just being lazy. You need to help clean and da da da. This, and the third." And I was like, "I wish that was the case, but I literally can't get up.
Yeah.
Like, I feel sick. Like, I really feel sick." And so now it's like,
Oh
"Nope,
my
sorry guys."
God.
Like I make my own plate. Like I'm like very specific. And I was like, "I love you, but I love myself more." So it's
Oh yeah.
yeah,
I'm not about to be sick to make you happy, you
that part.
know? Hmm.
Mm,
Yeah.
that's a bar. You might have saved somebody. I'm not going to make myself sick to make you happy. And you can insert in that any scenario we talked about. Okay. That could
Hmm.
be about your schooling, the degree, like how we were talking about your nursing earlier. You could talk about
Hmm.
that in terms of your social life and needing boundaries. Like for me, I'm not eating with y'all. So sorry, I love you, but I need my own plate. I'm definitely not drinking with you. Right? Like there's all these different things, but yeah, no, that's a bar. I hope somebody wrote that down. I'm gonna write it down.
Yep.
I'm not talking about somebody else write it down. Let me write it down. I'm not, I'm not gonna make myself sick to make you happy. Wow,
Yeah. It's
yeah,
true though.
I
People
like
don't realize what you're going through, or people think you're making excuses, but it's like, no, I'm not. I
yeah,
don't feel up to it. I don't feel good, whatever the case is.
yes. No is a
Mm,
complete sentence.
bruh, I think we talked about this last time too, but
Yeah,
like, yeah, saying no, free yourself, guys. Trust me, free yourself. Just say no once in a while.
yes,
It helped me a lot for sure. At the beginning of this war, I was like, yes, 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 yes. I didn't know the answer, no, and it literally took a big toll on me, like mentally, physically, everything. So, yeah, you got to learn to say no once in a while to help yourself out.
that part. I do have like, I guess since you're so on the opposite side of me, I'm like, oh, I wonder how this works for her.
Mm,
Because I think, like I said, the rest of us are still deciding how we want to stabilize, right? And like putting roots down. I think three of the four of us, like or no, three of the five of us in our friend group are moving or are like have recently moved, whatever the case is, transitioning.
hmm.
And like all of us are doing that. We're not really settled in like yes, we're gonna live here permanently type of thing, or have bought real estate anywhere. You know what I mean? Like we haven't done those things that you would like that are expected of us by our age, quote unquote, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
like we're still changing careers, we're figuring that like, me and Rem are on this entrepreneur thing, right? Like so we're all like doing it differently, which I think is super cool. So I think it's always fun to talk to you because I'm like, oh, you're there. Like you already have all of those building blocks that our parents want us to have like set. You know, you've been in
Mm-hmm.
your career, like you said, 9 years, right? Going on 10 or whatever. You've been in your city, you've got yourself situated in your house, like all of those things. So what happens after that? I think we're all curious, right? Because it's like you did all that work, you did all that foundation building. Like how does that feel to like know that that stuff is done and now it's kind of just like, oh, okay, well, life's ahead of me.
Mm-hmm. You know what? Honestly, the thing about life, guys, is that you never know where it will take you. You never know where that thing called life is gonna take you. And for me, I'm not somebody who is like thinking, oh, I'm living in Ottawa here for the rest of my life. Like that's it. It's a wrap. Blah blah blah. Yeah, I have a career here. I have my house. I have my family. I have roots here, solid roots, right? But I'm very open to moving. Honestly, I really see my future in Tigray. Like this is not even just like kikiing talking. Like I cannot see myself living here forever at
Mhm.
all. But I don't know where I'll be. Who knows? I'm just open. Of course, I don't know. God knows. God knows. That's what I say. But all I think is the thing that I think is important is to not limit yourself and not, you know, force yourself into a box that you think is your future. You know what I mean? Like you need to be open. So, and I'm open. I don't know. I don't know where I'll go, where I'll be, but I really hope I end up in Tigray.
Okay. Do you feel like you're like I guess like for me, the way I envisioned it, if I was in your shoes, it would be a lot less pressure because I already know all the things that I have, like that's already settled. And it's like, oh, I have more expendable income or um like I don't have to worry about taking this risk because these things are already taken care of. Like, do you feel like you have that flexibility too of like maybe a little bit more peace of mind? Or do you feel like actually
Mm,
like I don't want to lose all that stuff that I worked so hard
yes.
for?
So that's yeah, exactly. I would say the way I look at it is more like it's not an easy thing to let go of everything that you have rooted in your where you originate from, right? Like for me, it's my job is not just a job. Like I love my job and I love my coworkers too. It would be very sad for me to leave here for sure. I would be super sad. But at the end of the day, my job is obviously very transferable. I can go anywhere with that. So um it would be I wouldn't feel I would feel sad regardless, it would
Mhm.
be hard to let go, but it's not something that I can't let go of for sure. And when it comes to my house, like I wouldn't let it go. I mean, I would just rent my house out and this is something that I'm gonna keep forever. But yeah, and you're leaving your family, that's not a joke. Like I have my friends, all my best friends are here, my family is here. So it's that's definitely hard. I don't know. I never moved away. Like you would know more than me. You didn't live with your mom for how long? Like in the same city. So it's not easy, but people do it all the time. So just be open. For me, I'm open.
Okay. No, I like it because the reason I ask is because I did it the opposite, right? So it's like I was like, I wonder if I would have done it the way my mom wanted me to, and I've been in your situation, would I still be taking the risk that I'm taking now? You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like, would I still have done uprooted in the same way? Like, I don't think I would have. Like, I feel like I tried doing it the other way when I was working full time and like doing these things on the side, and I was just like, yo, this is bananas. Like,
Hmm.
yeah, I would
I
have to
think for me,
definitely
it seems
different.
easier. Like I would imagine it's easier to move away to just get up and go when you don't have so many things tying you down to one place. You know what I mean? Like that's how I would view it as. But the other side of the token is okay. Well, maybe now you have more you have more financial freedom to do something like that. Like there's pros and cons to both situations for sure.
Mm, okay. Yeah, I
Yeah.
was just like trying to let the audience see too. Like we did it in completely different ways. But
Mhm.
we still standing. Like we're still okay. We're still friends. You can be friends with people who are different than you too, right?
Oh yeah, of
Like
course. You
that's
should
important.
be friends that are different to you. You know, you need to learn and be in different crowds, different environments.
But it takes a certain level of openness, and a certain
Yeah.
level of grace because it could be so easily like, I could talk to you and be like, I'm gonna do this, this, and this thing, and you would be like, oh hell no, that's reckless. Don't do this. Like, I don't think that's a good idea. And then it's like, no, you knew who I was already. Like,
Mhm.
don't speak that negativity into my life or don't try to scare me because if you know me, you know how much fear I already had to fight to get to the
Mhm.
point to decide that. You know what I mean? So I always think
Mhm.
about that. But like you'll be like, couldn't be me, but more power to you. Like, like you'll be like, oh, okay,
Mhm.
that like if Faven's a friend that's like, let me live vicariously through you. Cause like
Mhm.
I can't, I'm not set up that way, but I appreciate that you are.
Well, no, one thing about me, especially now, like where we are in our life,
Hmm.
I will be the first person to say, at your big age, if you want to do that, go do you. Go do you. I'm not about to be anybody's mom at this big age. No, thank you. Like it couldn't be me, like you said, it couldn't be me, but hey, go do you. You know, and also the older I get, the more I realize I don't like to give unsolicited advice anymore. You know, I'm trying to save my own energy. Like I don't like giving people advice who don't listen to it. So unless people are asking me, hey, what do you think about this? Or, you know, like it's my family and I feel obligated to give the advice. I'm not giving people advice anymore. Don't if you ask for it, I'll give it to you. If you don't want to know, you're just telling me you're about your shenanigans. Okay, do you? Could be me, but do you?
Oh
You know.
man. And it's funny too because the next question I was going to ask you is actually this is not unsolicited. This is actually solicited advice for the people who are younger than us that are listening or your younger self having gone through, all of these things and the way that life has turned out for both of us, so far. We're still learning and growing. Is there anything that would stand out to you that you would want to give as advice?
Mm, I would say like maybe for people students who are still in school and are just like over it because it's a hard program or especially now I feel so bad for students who anybody who's a student during this genocide. I feel so bad for them because I can't even imagine how they're able to find the strength to sit through a class and learn and while they're so preoccupied thinking about Tigray, you know what I mean? But I would just want to encourage them to push through it. Like keep just stick with it, you know, like there you'll be able to get through this. You will, literally, you know. I think I read something the other day that was like every storm ends. And
Mhm.
so like just adrohom, you guys will get through this. I wasn't even thinking about the war when I was initially going to say this. I was just going to say, hey, you might be in a hard program but see through it, like you'll be all right, you know, because like for me I said my program was super duper hard but my actual life is not, you know. It wasn't a reflection of what I do today at all, and I'm so happy I was like I just stuck through it and continued and finished it. So that would be my advice, especially now to all the I was gonna call them kids, but to all the people, Dawit's probably mad at me for saying that. Shout out to you, Dawit.
You always say.
But to all the people, to everybody, even like you know older students, just try and prioritize yourself a little bit because school is not a game, and you really do need your education for a lot of things today, and that's just a simple fact. So just stay focused, and you know things will be all right.
Yeah, I was like, I think about that too for everyone. That's also why I'm so adamant about celebrating all the graduations because you went through a hell of a storm to get to where you're at.
Hmm.
So like the least we can do is acknowledge that and
Hmm.
try to celebrate the folks who are persevering because it's not easy. And sometimes me, I'm a mindset like queen, so I always am like, look, if your family was here, like in your position, they'd be telling you to go to school. Like they would be
Hmm.
telling you you need to get that degree because you're going to be so much more helpful when you are done with that. You know what I mean? Like once you've learned
Exactly.
what you needed to learn, because you're not going to learn the skills that we need you to learn to be useful, to be like helpful in life, right? Like not just for Tigray and in this movement, but social justice at all, like human rights
Mm-hmm.
at all, or even just being a productive member of society. Like if you want to actually like help and benefit people, then that accomplishment is much more than like a piece of paper, right? And it's much more than because there's debates about college, but it's much more about the fact that you were disciplined enough to get through it, and like that mindset and that ability will take you far in life, you know.
Mm-hmm. Hey, the other thing too, like for anybody who is thinking of a path that's not like the ones that our parents have laid out for us, the non-college, non-university path. If that is your path, take it, take it, take
Mhm.
it, because there are so many creatives, there are so many entrepreneurs. Like you don't necessarily need that piece of paper too to become successful in 2022. So if that's your path, you take your path. Don't let your parents or your friends or whoever, your community, dictate what path you take.
Like whatever it is, that perseverance goes across every spectrum. Like it doesn't matter what you choose, right? Like it doesn't matter which path you choose, just know you're going to have to commit.
Hmm.
Like you're not going to get anywhere in life if you don't commit. So okay, like look, we're actually at the end of time. Look at you. You really did a great job today, Febu. Like, right? And I didn't even prep her that much, so this is great. Our favorite question, our last question, I ask everyone all the time. You've answered it before, so people who really are into the show, you go back and watch your other episode. But Febu, tell the people, what is it that you want your legacy to be?
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna stick with what I said last time, which is that I what I want from myself and from my community is to continue encouraging Tagaru to learn their history, learn their culture, learn their language. Like I want us to really use what's happening right now to our people to fortify and push us to be better and to really embrace ourselves as a people, because I don't know, I just feel like there are so many of us who we don't know enough, including myself. Like I talk about myself when I talk about this. There's so much to learn about our culture and our history. Like I think we really need to keep just applying ourselves and focusing on that. Doesn't need to be the focus, but it should be, something that we're interested in doing, so that way we can keep passing that on to our generations. Because one day, like our parents, our grandparents, whoever, they're not going to be alive, they're not going to be here to tell us anything, and it might be too late, because so much of our history is oral. I don't What do we do when that's gone? Who's going to tell us that history when they're gone? So that's all.
No, that's 100% facts. I'm gonna tell y'all, like, since I met Febu, like her agenda has not changed. Like, she has been take right out since the day I met her, virtually and in person, and since then,
Mhm.
right? Like, Febu is the one, and this why it's easy for me to affirm this for you because if anybody's gonna get us together, it's gonna be you. Like, I'm almost 100% certain about that at this point because Fable's the one that was like, "Oh, guys, no, 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 I'm gonna be proficient in in Tigrinya," and like while the rest of us were like lollygagging and kikiing and whatever, like Fable really like pulled out, busted out the books, got the app, got the whatever, and like within a couple weeks was reading and writing Tigrinya, like would be in the rooms with us, and she would be reading it and be like, "Did I say that right? Is that correct?" And like she's not joking. When she's serious about something, she really puts in that time and effort. Like to the point where I was like, oh, it only took her a couple weeks. I'll do it too. Like, like I was like, but then I remember I'm not as disciplined, but I'm gonna get there. No problem, So I'm a mindset coach. I can do this. But I literally was like, she's not joking. Like she's not joking. I've seen it time and time again. I've seen your language skills elevate.
Oh my God, Rita, don't. Okay, thank you. Woo! I was gonna say, don't sell them something, a
No, no.
product that is not there. Like, guys, by the way, she's not joking. I really did practice my Fidel. I didn't before this war. I didn't know how to read or write in Tigrinya.
Yeah.
I knew how to write my name. That was it. But after, I said this before. I think I said it on her show, or I told you directly. But um, I was so irritated that I couldn't read the trolls writing in Tigray in my comments, or like YouTube videos, whatever. That was my motivator. I was like, yo, damn, I can't understand what they're saying. I gotta know. So that was
Mhm.
really like what really made me like crack out the books. I wanted to know before too, but I wasn't as serious. So, anyways, but yeah, like now I would say I'm maybe like a kindergarten, grade 1 level. Like I'm not an expert at reading and writing, but I definitely started. I'll read very slowly, each feed out one by one. But
Hey, you gotta start somewhere.
exactly. You think I care? Do you think I care? Like, I will read that shit. It will take me half an hour to read one sentence. I don't care. The point is, I will get the job done. Like, that's it. We all start somewhere. I don't care.
Mhm.
Like, for me, I'm not ashamed about that. That's something to be proud about. Like, I'm very proud that I taught myself how to do that, honestly. Like, and I never speak about myself like that, but it's something I really wanted to know, and I really applied myself. So I recommend everybody to do the same. We can all practice and struggle together.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'll be texting my dad in Tigrinya now, and let's say I want to post something, I'll send it to him first, and I'll be like, "Hey, is this the right way to spell it?" Because the problem too with learning how to speak before learning how to read and write, my speaking is not perfect. So when I'm writing it out the way I think it's said, and
Mhm.
sometimes I'm saying it wrong, so I'm spelling it wrong. So
Mhm.
that's kind of the problem with like learning after. But anyways, it is what it is. But hey, when there's a will, there's a way.
That part. Oh, that might have to be the title. When there's a will, there's a way. Okay, I'm gonna write that down before I forget.
Hmm.
Because Fable really be just like she's really dropping gems today, and like the people who look up to you, right? Like, and I've been trying to make this a running theme throughout this season, but like just anytime they come to Uprooted, is like if these are the people that you're looking up to, then like look up to them completely. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Don't just take the parts you like. Like look at like they actually have to sacrifice. They actually have to be disciplined. It does mean that you have to go without sometimes. And also, sometimes our lives are not as fancy and luxurious as people think they are. Like
Hmm.
y'all just see the fun highlights. Like don't get wrapped up in that. Like how many of you guys are going to spend your afternoon struggle reading Tigrinya? You know what I'm saying? Like it's a really like her thing, like and sit there with the abeti or sit there with your elders, your
Hmm.
parents, whatever, and let them tell you stories and write them down, right? Like
Hmm.
you got to actually be dedicated, and like Fable, you are like you are really dedicated. You keep the rest of us on our toes and inspired. I feel like I learn so much more about like who I am, right? And like my identity because you push that to the forefront. Like I can't say
Hmm.
that's me. And I'm proud of you too. I'm glad that you're saying that you're proud of you. You know, I'm always proud of you. We're always proud of you, all of us. When I say
Thank
us,
you, Rita.
yeah, I was like, specify our girl group. But like I think even collectively, and I think that it's really it's dope that I can say like you're my friend. Like I'm like that's my
Yeah.
friend. She's a badass and she's my friend and like she's so cool.
Oh, thank you, Rita.
Of
I
course.
appreciate you.
I got you. I got you every time, and we really do pull up for each other. This is what it looks like. This is why we talk about personal development and our growth and having people like you around. And I hope everybody took those gems away. I hope y'all enjoyed Febu. That is a wrap on this episode. So congrats to
Thank
you.
you.
Okay. Third time's a charm. So everybody make sure, like I said, you are following up with Febu and United Tegaru Canada as always. Make sure you're following the Uprooted Network everywhere. And yeah, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Enjoy this
Wait,
episode.
Rita, I have one more thing to say
Go ahead.
before we're done. I just want to. I wouldn't be me if I didn't plug in something for UTC. So
Go ahead.
just for anybody who lives in Vancouver, BC, or the surrounding area, Aflam is premiering in Vancouver on April 10th. So make sure you buy your tickets. You can just DM us on Instagram or email United Tegaru CA at chair, but just just DM us and I'll connect you. Also, Edmonton and Calgary are also having a viewing of Aflam as well. So that one is not a UTC event, but it doesn't matter. Go support the cause, support Tigrayan artists. So yeah, that's my plug, my shameless plug. Thank you.
No, we love it. Y'all make sure if you watch this after the fact, it don't matter. Like there's multiple showings, so make sure you're supporting in whatever way that you can. Like I said, just support the people who support you at the end of the day. And that's what we do here
Yeah.
at the Uprooted Network. So peace out, y'all. We'll see you back on Sunday for Black Men Speaks. Thank you again, Febu. Everybody, have a good
Thank
Wednesday.
you.